Good evening and welcome to the third recording of Who's Your HackerCon webinar series recorded April 16th, 2020. I'm your host for tonight's proceedings, Scott Lyons. I'm also the CEO of Red Lion. Let's get into what we've got going on tonight.
Welcome to the Who's Your HackerCon webinar series. We are putting on weekly webinars leading up to the live event scheduled for September 25th to the 27th, 2020. For more details on upcoming speakers, please check out www.who'syourhacker.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Red Lion. Breaches happen. Red Lion is the only risk management company which is MRR and MSP friendly. Compliance and security connected, Red Lion. Visit redlion.io for more information.
Hello and welcome to tonight's presentation. A little house cleaning before we get started. As a reminder, this webinar series will be held every Thursday night until this pandemic crap nightmare is over with. So feel free to join us at 10 p.m. Eastern every Thursday night. The link for the next episode can be found at who'syourhacker.com/webinars-free-CPES. Also, you can find this plus other episodes not only on the Who's Your Hacker website, but also on irongeek.com and YouTube. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them down below. Trust me, we will get to them, right? So tonight, I have the esteemed pleasure of introducing you to somebody that you may or may not know. His name is Tyrone Wilson. Tyrone is an information security professional with 22 years of experience in information technology and system configuration, including information systems and network security. Tyrone also has an extensive knowledge in computer network defense, vulnerability assessments, cyber threat analysis, and incident response. As a former cybersecurity analyst for the Army, Tyrone developed security structures to ensure American intelligence systems were protected from foreign threats. He is the founder and president of Cover 6 Solutions, which teaches companies and professionals aspects about information security, penetration testing, and everybody's favorite topic in the world, IPv6, right? Tyrone, welcome.
Indeed. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. So what are we doing tonight? What do you have lined up for us? You wanna take us through that?
Sure thing. So what we're going to talk about tonight is called passive reconnaissance. There is a big difference between passive reconnaissance and active reconnaissance. The main difference is in the passive reconnaissance stage, that is where you identify information about a person or an organization without that person or organization figuring out that you're doing it. So basically, all the tools and all the things that I'm going to share tonight through just a typical web browser, our target will have no idea that this is going on.
Right. Now, what is the difference between this and, let's say, everyday OSINT? Right? Can you walk us through a little bit of that?
Sure thing. So OSINT may be a little bit different. OSINT may be you identifying additional information to something that may have already happened. So maybe if you're a network defender, you have indicators of compromise for a certain attack that may have happened. You find some indicators and now you want to pivot and do open source intelligence to find some additional information that may add value to your search. That would be a little bit different.
So if you wanted to understand the risk to an individual or a company, or you wanted to find out more information without people knowing that you're doing this, that's what you're saying, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool. Well, you have a presentation lined up, right? So why don't we get into it? I'm going to turn it over to you and let's have at it.
Sure thing. Again, so thanks for having me. Tyrone Wilson here, founder and president of Cover 6 Solutions. I am about to present one of my favorite topics. The reason why I present it this way is because it's one of the topics that I use first in all of my classes, and it's a really good way to open the students up and let them know what the possibilities are on the internet. Another reason why I like to give this presentation is I like to preface it a certain way. So I've given this presentation in many talks, at conferences, what have you. And the way I like to preface it is, before I begin, I like to ask the audience a simple question. I would say, think about all of the people that you have had a conversation with, the people that may be sitting at the table with you right now, or the things that you have told, people like during the break. My question to them would be, think about, is there enough information out there about you for that person to have planned to be there? Could that person have planned to be sitting at the table right next to you? Right? So that gets the wheels churning, it gets them to start thinking. But then I walk through a few of my favorite sites to show them how this could be done. Right? So the first one that we have up right now is just Google. Everyone is really, really familiar with Google. It's got a lot of possibilities, a lot of information that is through the Google interface. One of the cool things is that Google does allow you to create different profiles in the Chrome extension, so you can have different profiles for whatever you may be focused on. So that way you can keep different preferences, different extensions, different bookmarks per profile. And you can have a profile specifically for passive reconnaissance. Within Google, there's an entire Google hacking, there's an entire database for the advanced syntax structure that you can put in Google, created by the folks at Offensive Security and handled by the folks at Offensive Security. So with this advanced syntax, you can filter out for things like vulnerable files, vulnerable servers, files that contain usernames. And essentially, if you're doing this like as a network defender, what you would want to do is just find one of these syntax that will have a URL in it, and just exchange the URL for your URL. Again, you don't have to just use Google. There are browsers created specifically for search engine, searches that will have additional privacy. DuckDuckGo is one of those options. It's very, very popular by those that are in OSINT passive recon. Also, before we like to begin, is individuals would like to create a puppet account or a fake account with a fake profile, so it will help them disguise who they really are. One of the places to start with that is a website called This Person Does Not Exist. On this website, it includes AI-generated images of people who are not real, right? Hence the name. One of the features inside of the Google Chrome browser is you can right-click on an image and you have the option to search Google for an image. This option often gives people with fake profiles away, especially if they're using images that have been used before on the internet. The cool thing about this site is that it will never repeat an image. So you can refresh this as many times as you want until you can find a profile image that's suitable for your needs. Typically, I like to be someone that is the total opposite of me. So when I'm in recon mode, I know that I'm in recon mode and there's no way that I can mess that up. So during the passive recon phase, some of the things that you may be looking for are things that will end up being either an emotional tie to someone or an organization, or something that is real personal in nature, so you can have a means to pivot onto another site. So what I mean by that is maybe a name, an email address, a phone number, a physical address. You're looking for these tidbits of information that can help you lead to something else. Aside from Google, there is a site that I use regularly called the OSINT framework. And what the OSINT framework provides is a repository of sites that you could use to identify additional information. So in this case, I'm looking for domain names that may be on the domain blacklist and The OSINT framework will provide me sites that will allow me to do that. And as you can see, it doesn't just stop at domain names, it's IP addresses, social networks, instant messaging, things of that nature. The list is almost endless. So before the OSINT framework, I used to go to a web, I'm sorry, I'll come back to that. The Internet Archive, right? Eventually, you are going to end up finding a web page or URL of a website. Instead of going to the website, you can use the Wayback Machine, right, to look at a copy of the website. In this case, I'm using ESPN.com. As you can see, the first copy of ESPN.com's website was back in 1997. If you wanted to see what this website looked like 13 years ago, you can do that. But because we're staying passive, what we can do here is we can look at the latest copy or the latest snapshot of ESPN.com. And because we're technically not on the ESPN.com website, we can browse as much as we please. Now, we know that when you visit a website, it's no longer passive. When you come to my website, I know that you're on my website. Oftentimes, websites would have, a multitude of tracking codes that will help you identify things like demographic, what your browser is, where you source in the world, and things of that nature. So while we're on the website, we want to start looking for the things that I talked about earlier, the 5 W's. Who are you? What do you do? Where are you located? What's your mission? And who's in charge? And maybe identify an email address, phone number, or a physical address. You can do that with the Wayback Machine. Still being passive, one of my favorite sites as well is the LinkedIn company page. Again, I'm sticking with ESPN, but I'm using the LinkedIn's company results to find individuals that may work there. One of the cool things about this feature is that LinkedIn allows you to break down the company's business by location. So let's just say earlier during my search of the Wayback Machine, I'm able to identify email addresses. From identifying those email addresses, I can sort of conclude with the syntax for those email addresses may be for almost everyone in the company. So be it first initial last name or first name dot last name, however they may have it, I can use that to correlate those results with what I get back from the ESPN, how individuals' email addresses may be. Because I possibly know their email address and I know their job titles, now I can start to cater my targeting towards this individual. To take it a step further, since we're talking about targeting, now I can start to use a site like Have I Been Pwned to see if a person's email address has been associated with a recent data breach. In this case, I'm just using just a regular jack@gmail.com. And I can see that Jack's email has been involved in a breach. Now I can probably take a screenshot of this, use this in a spear phishing email, point them to the site if they really needed to verify that it exists. They'll see that it exists, and maybe that will help me start, a dialogue with this individual. While we're still targeting individuals and still building profiles, we already know that on Facebook, there's a crazy amount of information that people willingly put out there. It makes no sense for me But if you spend just 15 to 20 minutes on Facebook, you'll see right there in your newsfeed individuals that you thought were, the least, just a little bit tech savvy, still either respond to the games that ask personal questions, or they'll share images that relate to personal information about individuals. So just being on Facebook, you can literally follow a person, for a couple weeks, and just from the information that they identify on Facebook, you're able to build a profile. Also, we know that within a matter of months, right, the same holidays come by over and over. So there's Take Your Kid to Work Day, there's National Pet Day, there's Siblings Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Grandparents' Day, all of these different days. And then people are posting that to their social media accounts with those hashtags. Doesn't really make sense to me, but it happens. While we're still profiling a person, maybe we've come across the Twitter account. So again, using Jack as a profile name, this site, follow.me, will provide profile information about an individual's Twitter account. So one of the things that I like about this is that it really, really helps me identify what this individual spoke to most recently. Right, so it has it listed by the most recent topics that they talked about, the most recent hashtags they may have used in their tweets, the individuals that may have mentioned them recently. So now you can follow their interactions. There is some tweet analysis along with the Twitter client that they use. So as an attacker, I can see that this individual primarily uses an iPhone or an iPad, which would lead me to believe that they're into iOS software. So now I can totally disregard, doing research on any Android exploits. Again, it even tells me when this person tends to tweet. And as you can see here, this individual tweets when most humans tend to sleep. So now you can have an idea of when to reach out to that person, when to start a dialogue. But it doesn't just stop there. Since we were talking about iOS apps, or another one that provides a wealth of information is a Map My Run app. You may not think so, but a lot of individuals like to track their workout habits. And as an example, if you're friends with someone on this app, you can track and see when they work out all the time. And let's just say they work out, they go for a run every Tuesday and Thursday for about 2.5 to 3 miles. If you're an attacker and you have already identified where this person may live, now you can pivot to, physically, right, hanging out near that area. Again, you want to stay passive, but typically where a person starts their run and ends their run is where they live. Again, another app is the MyFitnessPal. So now you can see people's eating habits. And one of the cool things about this is there's a barcode scan option. People scan a lot of the foods that they eat inside of this app. Maybe you can come across a bar scan that has a specific code to a specific type of food that's only served at a specific store. Right, so now you can pivot, maybe see where they live, follow them to the store, and now because you know what they look like, they have no idea who you are. You're still passive, you're still following them, you're still looking at their purchasing habits. Again, from a physical standpoint, right? I just picked a place that we use typically in our training. It's in the middle of the desert, but this could work for an organization. In Google Maps, there is a a street view function, a satellite function. If you click down here to this little yellow person icon, I don't know if you can see it, but I'll zoom back out. There will be some little blue preview dots, right? So I'll click on this preview dot right here, double click on it again, and this will take me inside of this establishment. So if you're a part of a pen testing team, you can identify what your cover story is going to be. You can figure out where people on your team are going to sit, where your overwatch will be, where your security will be. And oftentimes you can actually see what may be on the menu. But, of course, through a little bit of recon, a lot of these establishments will have their menus available to you online. You have plenty of time to develop your story. Again, staying from a physical perspective, wiggle.net. I've heard people say wiggle.net. I will feel like I'll always say wiggle.net. What this site does is it allows you, among other things, is to identify the SSIDs of a particular location. So there's a chance that you can come to this website, put in your address, and see if the SSID of your wireless password shows up here. I'll just try to zoom in a couple times so you can see what this looks like. But basically, it is just the name of a Wi-Fi access point. Now, if I know this, then that will help me with things like evil twin attacks, where basically I can just go purchase a $10, $20 router, name it the same name as the SSID that I'm seeing here. I pull it to the scene, because most devices have an auto join function. You're going to attempt to join the network with the same name. Maybe I can capture that handshake or that attempted authentication process and try to crack what I feel your password will be. Still going, right, from a physical perspective. There are a lot of sites out there that may already have a live webcam going with some live streaming. So you can see, for an example, right here, earthcam.com, right? You can pick a state, pick a city, drill down. Maybe you can find a location that's very close to you or very close to the location that you may be doing some reconnaissance on. And oftentimes the camera will provide a live feed of that. What I like to do is to say I'm at a conference, I try to find a camera that's really, really close to the conference and then show them that I can literally see everyone that's coming in and out of the building. Depending on the camera, depending on how it goes, a lot of people, don't even take their badges off when they leave the building. So now I know your name, I know where you work, and you've already seen what I can do with that tidbit of information. Another thing that we're looking for is from, an infrastructure perspective. We want to know what your IP addresses are, what your subdomains will be, and how that can lead to me possibly identifying some vulnerabilities that may exist. So I'm using corp.com as an example. They have been in the news lately. I believe Microsoft just bought them for a large amount of money. But what I'm looking for right here is IPv6 addresses, right? That will give me an indication that they may be a little bit tech savvy. Not fully tech savvy, but enough to add a quad A record. I'm looking for the address space. I'm looking for subdomains. And this is just one of the tools that allow me to do this. So you can see there's a lot of subdomains here. I get to see name servers. You get to see MX records. And I can use this information to continue to pivot. One of the ways that I continue to pivot from here is, our friends at Farsight Security, they have a tool called DNS DB Scout. So again, using corp.com, this tool, when I run a query, allows me to see every single IP address that this domain or subdomain has ever used, right? It's based off of passive DNS. So all of the A records, NS records, quad A records will be housed here. This also helps network defenders identify, what other URLs may be blocked, or what other IPs need to be on the block list. This lets me pivot because if I was to find a IP address, I can drill down on the IP address and it will let me know all of the subdomains that may have been used by this IP address. So with this tool, you literally cannot hide here. Once I find IP addresses, usually the next step is to take it active and try to identify the vulnerabilities or the service versions. Tool that I like to use for that is census.io. I'm not going to put in, a specific IP net block here for security purposes, but this is just what's currently showing up. Right now, you can see that Census automatically scans the internet on their own, and then they'll provide that information for you here. So again, you may want to trust or you may want to verify this information with some active information, but you can see I'm already identifying services with IP addresses. If we were to take that a step further, we're already familiar with what Shodan can do. Shodan will essentially provide you information just about anything that's currently connected to the internet or the Internet of Things. So this techniques, right, being good at identifying personal information or company information on the internet is serious business, right? There are teams of people that use these techniques in child trafficking cases. And so you can use this to really help individuals that may be in need. Also on television, right? Some of my friends have been in shows where, for example, The Hunted. The Hunted, the premise of the show is you have the hunters, and then you have folks that are on the run, and they try to remain on the run for 30 days, and the only thing the hunters have to find them is the internet. So as an individual, those are some things to think about. Can you stay off the grid for 30 straight days? I can assure you that it will be very difficult. Another one of the things that I wanted to put out is, what I'm showing you right now is just things that, I'm just showing you what in the last 30, 40 minutes or so. There are entire courses that you can take, week-long courses, that will help you become really proficient in the art of passive open source intelligence. Some of them will be my friends that put their heart and soul into those classes, and it's not just you learning how to Google, right? There's a lot that goes into it. And we haven't even gotten to the tools, right? These are just things that you can do with just a regular web browser. I haven't pulled them up, but public court records are available to you. There are search engines just for criminal records. Why I bring that up, funny story, I actually found my biological father. by doing searches on court records and looking at, um, you know, criminal records. 30 years I've been looking for them, and I found them that way. I actually found my biological siblings through passive recon in Facebook, believe it or not. So just to cover a couple tools, one of the tools that I talk about quite often in class is Discover by Lee Baird. As you can see, it's a really simple search for domain information or personal information. What this tool does is just very quickly, you punch in what you're looking for, and it will literally provide you exactly what I'm kind of showing you right now. It's a web interface full of tabs with the information that you're searching for already pulled up for you. And also at the end, it will provide a little statistical report for you. So you can get this started if you want, let that run, and then while this is running in the background, you can start to do research on your own. Intel techniques, Mike has taken the site down, but if you go into the resources down the bottom, he'll provide an entire virtual machine for you called Buscador. And inside of Buscador, it's an entire operating system full of tools that you can use for, open source intelligence, right? There's books as well. But, these are an additional list of tools that you can use to get the information that you need. That fails, you can still go to Awesome OSINT on GitHub, which is just another example of a site that provides URLs to just about everything you may be looking for. And again, like I said, it's big business. You can use these skills to help people. I use these skills quite often. I help people get the closure that I got by finding my biological father. I've helped friends find their biological siblings. So you can, use this to your advantage. By helping people, I suggest you find a way to give back to the community. Like always, you may find passive recon or OSINT talks and meetups. It's almost always something related to OSINT at any one of your local B-sides, what have you. So that concludes, my talk for the day. I want to thank you all for having me. I really enjoyed it. And, at any time, if anyone's looking to connect with me, I can be found at Ty Wilson 21 or just about any social media platform, or you can find the company, Cover 6 Solutions, on any social media platform using @Cover 6 Solutions. That is a number 6. That 6 is a nod to my service in the military, 24 years Army, and my love for IPv6.
In hearing all this, wow, this is a lot of really, really good information, right? Tyrone, I really want to thank you personally for coming on and joining us in tonight's recording. So backing up just a little bit, okay, there are a number of companies out there, a number of businesses that go out and do what are known as Google Business Tours, right? And if you find a company that does that, they are the ones who are responsible for spinning the camera inside of companies, right? So in your presentation, you were talking about using the Google Business Tour, right? The Google Tour inside of the business as passive recon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody's interested in more in that, right, you can always go out and find information on that. Now, let me ask you something. For somebody who's just starting out, right, in maybe dabbling in OSINT or even dabbling in passive, right, what what would be one thing that they really need to look for, right? That they really need to use to hone their skill. What could you identify that for me?
Sure thing. What I would do to have them start is just to come to Google or any browser and put their name in double quotes and just see what comes up. So as an example, let's just say I just do Jack Johnson in quotes. What I would do is just kind of go through this, see how many results show up with your name, as well as down the bottom, they'll show you the related searches to your name, as well as the number of pages that you may have to sift through. This will immediately let you know how much information may be out there about you. And obviously, the less common your name is, the better. You may have to be more specific. You may have to add more information in double quotes, but it's good to just see, what's out there. There may be videos on you or pictures on you, right? It doesn't just stop here. But like I said, these search engines are going to try to give you the best information as soon as possible. So just by looking at the details of this site, we may even find everything that we need to know just right here on the first page.
Okay. One of the things that we talked about, at least at the opening, was that you do training. What kind of training do you provide? Right? Can you dive into that a little bit?
Sure thing. By trade, I consider myself a network retrieval analyst, incident handler, incident responder. That's my love, something I've been doing over 15 years through the military, to deployments, working at JTF, US Cybercom, FBI on the weekends. So my training, one of my favorites is the SOC Analyst Prep class, so the Security Operations Center Prep class. I also do a penetration testing class. We do that in person or virtually, and I incorporate a lot of the passive recon skills in those classes because it helps you pivot from identifying vulnerabilities to having your evil genius kick in, to think about how you can use that to get a full exploitation or full compromise out of it.
Okay. And what is for somebody who's, I know you said that your creds, it was what was your Twitter handle again? You want to get that out one more time and then get your website as well.
It's at TyWilson21. And the website is www.cover6solutions.com. COVER, the number 6 solutions.com.
Okay. Well, listen, hey, thank you for joining us. It's dude, the information that you gave out is incredible. Right.
Sure.
We are humbled to have you come on and join us. Thank you so much. If anybody has any questions or anything, you can always reach out to us either via the information down below, or you can reach out to Tyrone directly. Please, don't hesitate. Tyrone is a very, very smart cat. Known him for a while. He's got a lot of really good information and knows how to get it across. Right. For Tyrone Wilson, I'm Scott Lyons, and the rest of the Who's Your Hacker crew. Thank you, and good night.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. And